Financial stress is a pervasive undercurrent, quietly shaping the contours of modern life. It exists not as an anomaly, but as a constant hum beneath the surface of everyday existence for countless individuals. This silent pressure influences an astonishing range of decisions, from the mundane choices of daily consumption to the monumental shifts in career paths. Its effects ripple outward, impacting not only individual well-being, but also the fabric of families and communities. The documentary before you will delve into its complex psychology, unearthing the hidden mechanisms through which it operates. We aim to expose its far-reaching consequences, often overlooked in a society fixated on outward success. At its core, financial stress is a profoundly psychological response. It emerges from the perception of threats related to one's monetary situation, even if these threats are not immediately tangible. This is more than simple worry. It is a fundamental shift in one's mental and emotional state. These perceived threats manifest in various forms, from nagging worries about accumulating debt to the gnawing anxiety surrounding job security. For many, it's the fundamental concern of meeting basic needs, a struggle that feels both intimate and universal. The mere anticipation of financial instability is enough to trigger the body's ancient stress response, a primal alarm system geared for survival. Financial insecurity has a remarkable capacity to activate these primal survival instincts within us. It bypasses our higher reasoning, tapping into the more fundamental fear centers of the brain. This isn't just about problem solving, it's about basic self-preservation. The resulting cognitive effects are stark and debilitating. Individuals often experience heightened anxiety, a persistent state of unease that colors every thought. Concentration becomes a luxury, and decision-making, even on trivial matters, can feel overwhelming and impaired. This constant vigilance, the perpetual scanning for threats, drains cognitive resources at an alarming rate. It leaves little capacity for creativity, long-term planning, or even simple joy. The tendrils of financial stress extend far beyond the individual, reaching into the delicate ecosystem of human relationships. The pressures and anxieties experienced internally invariably spill over, creating palpable tension. What begins as a personal struggle often evolves into strained relationships, where underlying financial worries fuel conflict and resentment. Partners may find themselves at odds over spending habits. Parents may struggle to explain difficult choices to their children, and friendships can fray under the weight of unspoken burdens. Ultimately, this stress contributes to social isolation, as individuals may withdraw, feeling unable to participate or maintain the facade of normalcy. It fosters a profound sense of hopelessness, disconnecting people from their support networks. The relentless demands of modern life serve as powerful exacerbating factors for financial pressures. Society often presents an idealized, unattainable standard of living, relentlessly promoted through media and advertising. There is an overwhelming pressure to achieve, to consume, and to maintain a certain lifestyle, often regardless of one's actual means. This societal narrative creates a perpetual cycle of striving, where enough is never truly enough. Individuals are driven to chase benchmarks of success that are constantly moving, leading to potential disappointment and a nagging feeling of inadequacy. The digital age, with its curated perfection, only amplifies these expectations. Living under financial duress necessitates a constant series of difficult trade-offs. One must frequently choose between immediate present needs and the vital security of the future. These are not mere economic calculations, they are deeply personal ethical dilemmas, where every choice carries significant weight. The long-term implications of these choices are far-reaching, impacting health, career prospects, and overall quality of life. Sacrificing healthcare for rent or education for immediate income can have cascading effects for decades. The most insidious aspect of financial stress lies in the often invisible cost of these difficult choices. These are the opportunities foregone, the dreams deferred, and the silent erosion of well-being that rarely appear on a balance sheet. Financial constraints impose significant limitations, effectively restricting freedom and opportunity. They narrow the scope of possibilities, forcing individuals onto predetermined paths rather than allowing for genuine choice. This isn't just about what one can afford to buy, it's about where one can live, the education one can pursue, and the experiences one can have. Crucially, financial limitations often shape one's sense of self-worth. In a society that equates success with wealth, not having enough can lead to profound feelings of inadequacy. This can manifest as a diminished sense of control over one's own life and destiny. The constant struggle leaves individuals feeling powerless, often internalizing societal judgments about their financial status. To truly understand financial stress, we must challenge the surface-level assumptions that too often dominate public discourse. The pervasive narrative of pulling oneself up by the bootstraps fails to capture the intricate complexity of this phenomenon. It reduces a multifaceted issue to a simplistic individual failing. This narrow perspective often leads to blaming individuals for their struggles, ignoring the profound impact of systemic factors. Economic policies, social inequalities, and generational disadvantages are frequently overlooked in favor of individual accountability. The reality of financial struggles is far more nuanced than many care to admit. It is an intricate web of personal circumstances interwoven with broader societal forces, a truth often obscured by convenient fictions. The relentless burden of chronic financial stress carries significant long-term implications for physical and mental health. This is not a temporary discomfort. It is a persistent state of physiological activation that wears down the body's systems. The constant release of stress hormones contributes to a host of chronic health problems, from cardiovascular disease to weakened immune function. It is a significant contributor to various mental health disorders, including anxiety, depression, and even substance abuse. The persistent state of tension and worry places an immense strain on psychological resilience. In some cases, chronic financial stress has been linked to a shortened lifespan, a sobering testament to its destructive power. These deeply ingrained patterns of stress become self-perpetuating, difficult to break without significant intervention. The digital age, with its instant gratification and endless connectivity, has inadvertently amplified financial pressures to unprecedented levels. Constant access to information, often filtered through the lens of aspirational lifestyles, creates new benchmarks of expectation. The relentless pursuit of financial success, often portrayed as universally attainable, becomes a pervasive societal theme. Social media platforms, in particular, become stages for curated perfection and conspicuous consumption. This constant exposure to the perceived successes of others fuels pervasive feelings of inadequacy. Comparison, as the saying goes, is the thief of joy, and in the digital age, it has become a relentless antagonist to financial contentment. The gap between one's reality and the glossy digital ideal often feels insurmountable, creating a new layer of psychological burden. Financial stress is clearly far more than a simple matter of personal failings or poor budgeting. It is a complex psychological phenomenon, deeply intertwined with the very structures of the modern world. Its pervasive nature demands a broader, more empathetic understanding. We must move beyond simplistic narratives that reduce suffering to individual shortcomings. To address this crisis effectively, we must acknowledge the systemic forces that contribute to its existence. Economic instability, wealth inequality, and the absence of adequate social safety nets all play significant roles. The challenge before us is to envision and actively work towards creating a society that genuinely prioritizes human well-being over the relentless pursuit of financial accumulation. Only then can we begin to dismantle the pervasive burden of financial stress